All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today, we're exploring the psychological architecture behind a habit I can almost guarantee every single one of us shares. We are looking at exactly why we constantly argue with ourselves when we're completely alone, and more importantly, how we can actually stop. You know the feeling. You're in the shower, and you are just absolutely crushing a massive, dramatic argument in your head. Or maybe you've found yourself pacing around the living room, rehearsing a super tense conversation with your boss, a conversation that, by the way, hasn't even happened yet. It's a totally universal habit. Now, you might think you're just randomly daydreaming, but the psychology from our sources today suggests something way more calculated is happening behind the scenes. See, your brain isn't just wandering off. It's actively trying to bridge what psychologists call a logic gap. Basically, this is the mental space between the overwhelming uncertainty of your real life and your mind's deep evolutionary need for security. Your brain is running a highly calculated mental simulation to bridge that exact gap.
Think about it. Real life is messy. It's unpredictable. It's overwhelming. So when things feel out of your hands, your mind actively creates these fake scenarios in your imagination. Why? So you can finally feel in control. Because in your head, it's perfectly safe. You always say the exact right thing, you completely win the debate, and you finally feel understood.
Psychologists actually refer to this underlying mechanism as context building. Your brain is essentially rehearsing to feel more prepared and less stressed about the future. And what's truly fascinating here is that this is the exact same strategy used by high-functioning minds and even advanced AI systems. It's all about modeling a world picture in advance so you can make better, faster decisions later on. Section 1. The Toxic What-If Cycle. Survival Mode. But here is the massive catch. Over time, your mind can actually start strongly preferring the absolute safety of your imagination over the unpredictable messiness of reality. And this is exactly why this habit is so tightly linked to anxiety. If you're constantly stuck in these loops, your brain is likely caught in a toxic what-if cycle. It's frantically trying to prepare you for every possible disaster, but instead of keeping you in reasoning mode, where you can actually solve problems, it drops you straight into survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, your emotional impulses are completely in charge. In fact, those emotional impulses literally block the reasoning part of your brain, meaning you aren't actually preparing for anything at all. You are, quite literally, just rehearsing your own stress. Let's break down the deeper, chemical reason this happens. Your brain is actively trying to fill an emotional void. If you aren't feeling valued or heard in your real relationships, your mind creates an artificial scenario where you get that exact validation. You achieve that fake victory in your head, and man, it feels incredibly good. Why? Because your brain gives you a quick hit of dopamine. It's the exact same chemical reward system that keeps us endlessly hooked on scrolling through social media. And the crucial point here is that this quick hit of relief from real-world frustration slowly turns into a habit loop. It almost mimics an addiction. Eventually, this leads straight to what psychologists call maladaptive daydreaming. This is that dangerous tipping point where your internal world actually starts to feel more comfortable than reality. You'll start to notice that real conversations become significantly harder simply because you've spent so much time living in a version of reality where you get to control everyone's script. Section 2. Breaking the habit loop. Reclaiming your energy. So how do we break out of this? We need some actionable cognitive tools. The foundational psychological tool you need to master is called cognitive inhibition. It's a fancy term, but it just means having the vital ability to recognize an automatic emotional thought right as it's happening and actively choosing to hit pause.
Here's exactly how you apply this in 3 simple steps. First, you've got to catch yourself from the act of starting that fake argument. Awareness is absolutely key here. Second, you enforce a simple 3-second pause. Just 3 seconds. That tiny window of time is all it takes to disarm those emotional impulses, which lets you execute step 3, shifting your brain out of survival mode and safely back into reasoning mode.
Section 3. Rewiring your brain. Implementation plans. So moving forward, what's the smartest way to handle this? Instead of endlessly arguing with ghosts in your head, science suggests creating a fixed if-then plan for the real conversation. We call these implementation intentions. You simply state to yourself, if they say X, then I will calmly respond with Y. That's it. It's the specific scientific toolkit you need for actual real-world interactions. When you do this, you drastically shift your cognitive output. You stop wasting your imagination on fake debates, and you start training your discipline. You turn all that chaotic mental energy into automaticity. Because ultimately, real strength is never found in a conversation that doesn't actually happen.
It's found in the quiet, steadfast control you possess over your own mind.
So I have a very specific request for you today, and honestly, it might surprise you. Do not subscribe just yet. I actually want you to close this explainer. The very next time you catch yourself starting a fake conversation in your head, I want you to step up and use that 3-second pause. Prove to yourself, out there in the real world, that you are the one in control of your attention, not your anxiety. If you find yourself coming back here later because you chose to keep mastering your psychology, well, then you can hit that subscribe button.
Stay aware, stay focused, and remember this bold final thought. Your mind is a powerful tool, not a movie theater. But before you go practice this, let me ask you, would you like us to explore more sources in our next explainer on exactly how to master these implementation intentions so you can permanently stop overthinking and start taking action? Let us know. Until then, take control of that 3-second pause.